Good, great, grand, wonderful. No yelling on the bus. All right. So let's get back to the recording. Let's get back to the friggin' recording, huh? All right, wonderful. All right, guys. So here we go. Let's talk about what's going on in the comedy world, eh? All right, good. Didn't watch Saturday Night Live this last weekend, and I think they didn't have a new episode. I think that Pedro Pascal was the most recent host, and it was an off weekend. So that's exciting. Um, what's another comedy world update? I guess Bert Kreischer is going to be in Tampa this week. That's an update. Louis C.K. is apparently he sold out Madison Square Garden recently. Forgot to mention that to you guys when I was in New York. He had recently sold out Madison Square Garden. So you know what they say. If you're funny enough, you can get away with anything. No, that's terrible. What I'm really trying to say is Michael Jackson should have been funnier. That's also a joke. All right, just kidding with you guys. Don't get your panties in a bunch. All right. All right. So, what else? Comedy World updates. Huh? I don't really have much, but what I do have is a blend of my Comedy World updates with this. So we'll still put it in this category. I'll tell you guys and summarize the three big names that I got to see over the last week and a half to 2 weeks. So I got to see Seinfeld in New York 2 Fridays ago, as you know, at the Beacon Theater. At the very end of his performance, he opened it up to audience questions, and I had this compulsion to scream, "Do you believe in God?" I didn't do it. Didn't want. I don't know. I just felt like it might be kind of like a rude thing to scream in front of several thousand people, and maybe it's putting him on the spot. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Maybe that's what everyone wanted to know. Maybe no one wanted to know. I don't know. It's what I wanted to scream. Didn't do it. I guess sometimes you gotta, stifle yourself. Maybe not. Maybe I shouldn't have stifled myself. Either way, tremendous performance. Getting to see Seinfeld do his thing. The opener was great. I think I told you guys that last week. Sorry that I can't remember his name. So I saw Jim Gaffigan last Thursday night here in Tampa at the Straz Center, which is beautiful. And it was actually for his next taping of his next comedy Netflix special. I don't want to get into the nitty gritty because, it's his stuff and I don't want to, give anything away that's not mine to give away. I will say it started off very nail on the head with kind of some pandemic stuff and even kind of dark, to be honest, to where I was like, ew, I don't want to go into it, but I actually really liked it. Thought it was kind of therapeutic for probably a lot of us in a way coming out of the pandemic. And then he did, the entire thing was funny, by the way, just to hit you guys with some reality there. The entire thing was humorous. Jim Gaffigan, awesome. I mean, him and Seinfeld, some of the greatest. I've always really liked Jim Gaffigan. I still remember seeing him for the first time watching Comedy Central with my mom when I was in like 6th grade or something, and thinking, oh, he's one of the funny ones, Hot Pocket. I remember he would do that voice and kind of like have the commentary on his own set from that voice. Like, is he going to do jokes about Hot Pockets the whole time? So I always thought that was fun. And then he kind of had a similar vibe as like a Brian Regan to me. Brian Regan, clean family, he does his voice, which is more of like a, oh, I thought I was saying, so like that kind of, hey guys, if I was only there, oh, too bad I didn't. So that's like a Brian Regan. So they both have that kind of like inner voice that comes out in their own manifestations of themselves. Jim Gaffigan outwardly and open about being a Catholic. I'm not sure how much Brian Regan talks about religion, but I do categorize them both as family friendly comedians, good, clean, light spirited humorists, much like myself. However, I do know how to mix it up for the adult crowds, baby, and get dirty. I could tell that those three, Seinfeld, Gaffigan, and Brian Regan, who, by the way, I did not see Brian Regan recently. I saw him years ago in Missouri, Columbia, Missouri, actually, uh, with my college girlfriend at the time, really talking about her a lot, you know. But yeah, we saw Brian Regan at the big theater downtown Columbia that they put in. It's a newer one. They got Jesse Hall, they've got the Blue Note, and then they've got this big theater that opened in like 2009. And I forget what it's even called, but that's where we saw Brian Regan. It was great to see him. He had an opener. I think it was his younger brother who opened for him, who was terrible at the time, which goes to show you that stand-up comedy is something that you actually have to really, really work hard on for years to develop. Chris Farley's brother is case in point, who I hear is actually getting better now, right? But Chris Farley's brother, if you guys have seen him do comedy, at least like 5 years ago, it was nothing like Chris Farley's comedy. So it takes time, it takes work, it takes energy. But you can get there if you work hard enough and if you have the right ingredients. Some would call that talent plus, other things, talent plus hard work, which is similar to football. To be a professional football player, it takes talent plus years of hard work. So, Saturday night. So Friday night, I flew back to St. Louis and got to see Adam Sandler, him and Jim Carrey were my two childhood favorite comedians. First was Jim Carrey when I was in third grade, and then I discovered Adam Sandler through friends who introduced me to Sandler probably in like sixth, seventh grade. And then Sandler became my biggest influence and my favorite comedian, and loved his CDs. Sandler's dirty. So out of, all the names that I mentioned, the first three names, you throw Sandler in there. Sandler's super dirty, and he's got that full spectrum of humor, shampoo bottle up the ass jokes, dropping F-bombs. And, Sandler's more my kind of like full spectrum. I kind of resonate most with Sandler out of all of them, not just because of content, but also as a musical comedian too, right? So Sandler was just spectacular. I actually shed a tear watching him. No homo, but I felt moved by him. And by moved, I'm not talking about my penis. I'm talking about my spirit. I wanted to meet Sandler. I didn't want to hope for too much. I mean, we bought tickets and my parents came with me. They know what a big influence he's been on me. And my dad is a musician and lover of comedy. Even though he doesn't like the dirty stuff, we still had a great time. He knew what he was potentially getting into, and it was just spectacular. Adam Sandler, it was not just funny, it was theatrical. He had the musical component, he had comedy component, he had rips, he had lighting, he had the full presentation. And it's funny when somebody interrupts Adam Sandler, he doesn't get mad, he responds with "I love you." So that's so me. That's such a Michael Oldroyd thing. Whenever he makes fun of someone, he says, "I know that's not true." He like completely, he's so kind about it. And there were people that were just repeatedly interrupting him, saying, it was all out of love, but he would respond with, "I love you too, buddy. You're awesome. Thank you. Love you, bud." "Oh, look at this couple here. Love you guys." So just a wholesome, loving, light-spirited, dirty-mouthed humorist. And we had a lot of laughs. My mom was laughing. And at one point he was trying to get like some crowd participation. He flashed the light around, and he flashed his light right on me for an extended period of time. And I was like a deer in headlights. I wasn't supposed to say anything, and I didn't want to interrupt. Even though everyone was screaming "I love you" and getting an "I love you" back, I didn't want to disrupt it and like cheapen it just for a selfish "I love you" from Sandler. Would have been really cool to meet him. There was a St. Louis comedian, I think, that opened for him, super dirty. I was disappointed that's not the respectful thing to do. I'm sure he cleared it with Sandler first, but you don't open dirty before the headliner. Rob Schneider featured or did time after the opener. I don't even know the person's name, and I don't want to say it because I don't want to bash him. but I just thought it was super dirty. He did a good job, but it's like, dude, like this is Adam Sandler. You don't open dirty. You open clean, and then Sandler gets to do whatever he wants. So yes, I could have done a better job, but Sandler never got back to me about opening for him. Neither did Jim Gaffigan or Seinfeld, but I tried. For those three, I reached out, asked them if I could open for them. Didn't get a response, didn't even get a scene. Not upset, not surprised. They don't owe me anything. I would have been very surprised if they even responded. But you know, it was a real treat getting to see them, and it was also educational for me, and a reminder of kind of digging deeper into my own life to draw material. And there's infinite reservoirs of content that I can dig into from my own family and childhood experiences and things of that nature, plus musical components. So I am motivated. In fact, I just bought a piano today. I'm going to try to finish this album recording so I can have it out there. Sandler has like, 5, 6, maybe even more comedy musical albums. And I'd like to have one out into the ether just so it's there, because it's once it's there, it's there. And, I want to be able to give that to people, and I want to be able to bring that to my live shows eventually, is the musical component. There's a couple comedians that bring musical comedy and that theatric to their solo endeavors. One of them being a current day, the younger guy that everyone likes. He's really smart. What's his name? He made that pandemic video from home, just artistic masterpiece. Bo Burnham. So, I don't just want to be known as a stand-up comedian per se, like a Seinfeld. Well, he's known for his TV stuff too, but as far as I want to have the versatility of being able to do live stuff with my music. So anyway, that's what's going on in the comedy world. So thank you, Seinfeld, Gaffigan, and Sandler. I got to see you in 3 different cities in basically a week: New York, Tampa, and St. Louis. All family-oriented, successful, have wives and children, and seem faithful, and gotta respect that, gotta love that, and hopefully they all had good Valentine's Days, huh? So that's what I've got to say. Let's move on to what's going on in my comedy world that I haven't already talked about, because that's what we've just talked about kind of is a blend of the comedy world and my comedy world. But a lot of times both of those topics can be, there's a Venn diagram, there's a centerpiece there where there's some overlap. You know what I'm saying? So let's move on to what's going on in my comedy world. And for the people on YouTube, how you guys doing? Hopefully you're tearing it up, having a wonderful time. All right, gotta spread the hair a little bit, make it exciting. Good, great, wonderful. So what haven't I talked about as far as what's going on in my comedy world? The content still hasn't gotten released as far as the top 5, the collaboration that I did with my friend Adam Christopher in New York. He's working on the editing, I presume, as well as Dominic Leonelli is still editing our stuff from the sketch / fool around time we had there in front of NYU in Lower Manhattan of Old New York City. As far as more content, I need to be putting out a few more clips of my stuff. I'd like to put out some more musical clips as well. My following on Instagram is over 2,000 followers now, which I'm excited about. So thank you guys. My Facebook is up to 6,800. So I've kind of stagnated there. Got to keep on growing it. You know what I mean? Twitter still sucks ass. Hoping that Elon Musk will remove any restrictions I have on my account of getting my voice out there. I feel like my voice has been silenced on Twitter because Jack Dorsey's ex-girlfriend had a crush on me. That's all conjecture. I don't know if that's true, but I feel like saying it because because it could be true and it sounds cool, and it's an excuse for me not having a bigger following on Twitter. I feel like I put some real gems out there and nobody sees them. I can see the metrics. So I feel like my Twitter sucks. What else? I got off TikTok. Happy about that. The China spy balloon was another confirmation that it was great that I got off TokTik. YouTube, as you know, I'm still working on it. I think my subscribers are up to like 280. It's a hard one to crack, but I'm trying to get up to 1,000 so I can monetize YouTube. I continue to put more stuff out there, music videos, vlogs, random comedy clips here and there. Who knows? What have you? Who gives a shit? Doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But those are the social media platforms that I'm on. I got my website, Good, Great, Grand, Wonderful. Okay, cool. Check out my SoundCloud. It's never ending. Go to my link tree, see the 14 trillion places I'm online, and follow me everywhere just because you have nothing better to do. Okay, so that's a little bit of what's going on in my comedy world. What else? Did the Marriott gig last night for trivia. That was a lot of fun. We had a lot of laughs. We had some good times. Got some giggles when I talked about Valentine's Day, when I said happy birthday to me or happy conception date to me. New joke for you, but true statement. When I was a kid, I asked my dad, hey, Daddy, I heard, you told me that, I learned that it hurts mommy to have a baby and it hurts mommies out there to have a baby. Did it hurt you when you helped mommy make me? And he said, no, it felt good. And then he laughed and giggled. And I thought, what's he laughing about? I didn't like that he was laughing. I felt like they were holding a secret from me, and I didn't think that was very nice. It's like when somebody's speaking a different language around you. It's like, hey, what are these guys and gals doing speaking a different language and then laughing? It's rude. You know what I mean? So I guess you can do that even in English. You can say, it's like whenever the dog, whenever Coco, I don't want to say, hey, are you guys ready to go? Because then she'll know. She hears the word go and she gets upset and starts humping our leg and trying to prevent us from leaving. So I say, hi, Mom, art thou ready to attend the haircut scheduled for today? And, and Coco doesn't know what that means, but she might be thinking, hey, what's this asshole doing? Withholding from me. I don't understand what he's saying, but I can tell he's saying something. And I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So anyway, dogs are smart. Maybe they do. Maybe Free Willy could tell when his friend was speaking in code. Anyway, that is what else this week? Orlando. I've got a show in Orlando. At the Corner downtown. It's called the Corner. It's a bonkers comedy room. I'm headlining Friday night. Come on out. I think the show starts at 8:30. It's going to be exciting. I've come a long way since my first show that I did in Florida 2 years ago. I featured at a place called the Tin Roof, which I'm not even sure if they do comedy shows there anymore. It was a great first show in Florida. I had a great time. Featured, did like 25 minutes. And here I am headlining now, one of the comedy clubs downtown Orlando. So things change over time. Things go good when you put in hard work, and that's what's transpired. So I may do a set or two at Coconuts this week, TBD. But really, the thing that I want to start nailing down right now, which I'm going to do tonight after I check out the sunset and maybe see some dolphins, is I'd like to start finishing this comedy album and start working on picking up where I left off with my music in this keyboard that I bought from this guy at the Guitar Center today, who upsold me on some stupid freaking warranty that my gut told me was a waste of money, but I let him. He implored that I get it. He said, trust me, you're going to want the warranty. He really hard sold me on it, and I felt like a dick if I didn't get it. But really, he's the dick. Unless he truly meant it, and there's no way to really know that. Either way, I freaking bought the damn warranty, even though I don't want it. And he did a good job of guilting me into, I don't know if guilting, maybe manipulation of psychological manipulation, which a lot of salesmen seem to do. I was a salesman for a while, and my approach was always the honest, kind, and open approach, which sometimes women can still see as a form of manipulation, even if you're honest and kind, because they're like, what are you, some alpha male that's just, you're so confident that you're just going to lay it all on the table and you're forcing me to either to say fuck it or to take the deal. It's like, well, what do you want from me? All right. I mean, what does Cupid got to do to make you happy, miss? You know? Anyway, that's all I can think of for now as far as what's going on in my comedy world. So, come back out to the Marriott next Tuesday night. Follow my Instagram stories to see if I'm doing any random shows at Coconuts this weekend, and come see me in Orlando on Friday night this week. Friday, February. Let's look. Sorry, February 17th. Come on out. Let's have a great night of laughs. Let's mix it up. Let's rotate the crops. And I'm going to do a pier day on Saturday with John Jacobs in St. Pete Pier with John Jacobs and Trevor Glassman. John Jacobs just headlined the Improv in Ybor here in Tampa. It was his going away, part of his going away thing. Very funny guy. He's the guy that ran that show at the strip club a few weeks back. He's a nice guy. He's kind. He's getting ready to go do comedy in London for a while, and then he's moving to New York. So he's going to move to New York. Hopefully he gets some Saturday Night Live action. I wish the best for John. He's a great dude. I had him on my podcast here in the past, and it was a lot of fun talking about our hair. We both have the Jesus hair. Learned some hair keeping techniques. Didn't even think about brushing my hair until I talked to John about brushing one's hair. So he's the Neanderthal Jesus. That's what he looks like. So shout out to John Jacobs. Hopefully the show last week was swell. I would have loved to have seen it. I was at Jim Gaffigan, recording of a Netflix special, and I had to pee. So who was the opener for Jim Gaffigan? The opener was Ted Alexandro. Hilarious. I think I saw him at the Comedy Cellar like 15 years ago when I was visiting New York for the first time. Anyway, yeah, so that's what's going on in my comedy world. Let's talk about what's going on in my world, guys, huh? All right, wonderful. How's it going, guys, on Instagram? Hopefully you're doing just swell. Hopefully you're doing just terrific, huh? Terrific, no pun intended with riff, because I like to riff. All right, so what's going on in my world that I haven't already talked about throughout the entire podcast, because my world has been embedded and threaded throughout the entire thing. I had a great time going out with my friend Brent Heidi last week. I told you guys that he was at the pool while I was recording part of my podcast last week here. So Brent came over, we went to the Marriott afterwards, did my gig, and then we went out. We went to American Social. Wow, what a great time. Met some nice people, met some nice ladies, some lovely ones who still haven't followed me on Instagram, even though they said they would. So that upsets me, but it is what it is. What else? We went to Hattrick's downtown. Had a great time. Hattrick's is always a good time. Lovely bartenders and waitry. That's the plural form of waitresses. Hopefully they don't get hit too hard with this new IRS rule of, tracking one's tips and claiming. Hopefully they don't get hit too hard with that, What else? Had a great time. Again, American Social, downtown Tampa. Great times right there on the water. I recommend it. One of the places I like to frequent. Went there last night on Valentine's Day, solo dolo, after I did trivia, seeing if I could pull anything, and I didn't. It's always good. People like self-deprecating. Went out solo, went home solo, jerked off solo, just like Han Solo. So, heyo. That was my Valentine's Day. Very depressing. Had a girl that I matched with on Bumble in New York. Had a trip to Tampa. Told me she was going to try to meet up with me. Was excited. Bailed. You know how that goes. Heyo. So that's fun. got to get stood up, she claims, because of work, in quotes. Who knows if that's real? Either way, the chick I was supposed to hang out with on Valentine's Day did not come through on Valentine's Day. So another dud Valentine's Day for me. Called my buddy crying. Didn't actually do that. Wanted to, but you know how it goes. Good times. All right. What else? So what I'm trying to say is if you hate Valentine's Day, forgive me. Your time will come when I shoot you with an arrow and I'm also talking to myself. So that's awesome. Because in a weird way, whether it sounds crazy or not, we are all one. And when I talk to you, I am also talking to me. Isn't that trippy? Because I am part of you, you're part of me, and we're all part of God. How do you feel about that? Does that make you randy? By the way, I don't know if you knew, but Valentine, there were several Valentines or Valentines in the Roman Empire. The original Valentine was born in, I think, 242 AD. And I believe that the Pope mentioned at one point, because of the mystery or the hard to pin down thing around Saint Valentine, is that Saint Valentine was only someone that God knows. So isn't that wild? Saint Valentine, I guess, was a martyr and the patron saint of love and people with epilepsy, if I'm not mistaken. And there was one other thing. Either way, interesting enough. So that's a little bit about myself slash whatever, because I am part of Valentine I was created on Valentine's Day, as I've already said. Um, and hey guys, in case you're wondering, I think it would be extremely ego-centered and egotistical to flat out right think that I'm God, but I do think that I'm part of God, and I do think that you guys are part of God. So when I say things like I am a product of love and I am love, I know that that's a very strong statement, especially since, you know, God is love, right? So I am a product of love. I am not love isolated, but I am part of God. And kale means part of God. So I am definitely part of God, which is really a humble thing to say because you're part of God. We're all part of God. So really, it's an extremely humble thing to say. What I'm saying is it's like a square is a rhombus, but a rhombus is not a square, right? So how do I say that? I belong to God and I am part of God, but I am not God isolated. God is more than just me. Does that make sense? I think that's the most humble and truthful and honest and like objective way of looking at it. It would be outrageous for me to say I am God. However, I am a puzzle piece of God. I am part of God. I am one of God's children, and I emit the light of God, and I am a vessel for God and for light. But I am not the only vessel, if that makes sense, because you are also a vessel, and I'm speaking to you as an individual and you collectively, because we are all. That's my Valentine's Day message of love, because love goes much more beyond the romantic love. I'll be honest, between you and I, guys, I did watch The Notebook on the plane yesterday, and of course, a tear was shed. But that's also one of many versions of what can go down. It's it's a fantasy that is sometimes and can be true. So I'm not limiting it to anything. Uh, but it is it's a nice one. I think my favorite part of The Notebook is when she comes back and he says, "What do you want?" You know, I think when she eventually comes back and, you know, basically cashed in all her chips for Noah and vulnerably, you know, came back knowing, you know, she let her husband go, and it's like, we're gonna make this work, or it's either do or die now. No, it's you and I, you know. So when she showed back up, that was really heartwarming, and it was also a lovely scene when they were you know, in the water. When he invited her to come back the next morning, by the way, after they had dinner together that first night after she came to the house, And that was a bad idea for her to come back and say, yes, I'll come back. It was a bad idea for her to show up at all. Technically, she cheated on her fiance, which nobody appreciates that. But at the end of the day, it was in the name of love, and it wasn't just in the name of lust. It was lust and love. It was grounded in love more than anything. And I guess if there was ever a free pass to cheat, it would be for that reason, for ultimately finding your person, right? And I would have liked it if she didn't just fucking crush James Marsden's heart, whatever his character's name was. You know, the guy who plays that superhero where the eyes or whatever, he has lasers on his eyes. James Marsden is the actor's name. I would have preferred that she didn't just fucking open up his chest with open heart surgery, take a dump inside of it, and then sew it back up, because that's pretty much what she did. And nobody gives his character enough credit. But I'm sure he went off and banged, several strippers and cheerleaders and porn stars. That's just me projecting, because that's pretty much what happened after, I got my heart ripped out of my chest. So, on one hand, you could look at it as a gift that I've had my heart broken hardcore twice. 2 negatives is a positive. I don't know. But either way, I am Superman as a result. My sister told me once that I was scared to step up to the plate. She said, step up to the plate, hit a fucking grand slam. And if you miss and you strike out, you'll be invincible someday, or nearly invincible. And that's what happened to me. And as a result, I've had a great single life afterwards, as I fill my thoracic cavity, this emptiness of heartbreak from years ago and scars on my heart, as I fill it with porn stars, cheerleaders, strippers, and all these, whatever. You guys get the point. I'm happy though. In all honesty, it's all a trade-off, and I know in due time I'll find my future wife, and when I do that, I hope she does not listen to this episode. And if she is, honey, I just want to let you know I was exaggerating with the whole stripper porn star, all that. I'm making myself sound cooler than I am right there. All right. So is there anything else that I wanted to say? Yeah, I got a piano, so I'm going to try to, I got a piano and I got some light reflectors so that when I record these podcasts on YouTube Live, you guys get a nice, symmetrical lighting, or at least not too dark on one side. Because wouldn't want to look like the, Harvey Dent, you know what I mean? Anyway, do I have anything else to say to you guys besides I love you? Yeah, I do. I've been ending these things with a prayer, and I enjoy that. I've been enjoying ending my podcast with a prayer, a genuine prayer. I'll tell you guys of a recent Bumble encounter. So I matched with a couple really sensational looking women in New York when I was there on Bumble. Didn't meet them. One of them was supposed to hang out with me in Tampa yesterday. The other one, I got to hang out with one, which she did a great job of rejecting intercourse, and I did a great job of bowing my hands and saying, absolutely, I understand, no pressure. But there was a third one who we matched, beautiful gal, couldn't meet. She was in Colorado at the time, or made a trip to Colorado while I was there. Ironically, that's how it goes. Wonderful, good, great, grand, wonderful. The ones that you like are the ones that are fleeting and exclusive. Good times. Thank you for that. I can thank myself as Cupid. I don't know if Cupid's in control of that. He just decides who falls in love. But anyway, she said she's going back to Colorado. I said, I'm going back to Colorado. She says she snowboards. I say I snowboard. I'm like, oh shit. She's like, we should catch some runs together. I'm like, yeah, that sounds awesome. If you're serious, then I'm down. And she's like, yep, I'm serious. So then I say, cool, well, what dates, blah, blah, blah. And then she ghosts me. Don't you love that? Don't you love the ghosting thing? I was talking to my mom today about this, and I think I need to have her on as a guest to talk about the phenomenon of ghosting. She thinks that this day and age with the dating apps, that both parties have way too many choices, like the Cheesecake Factory. So it's always on to the next best thing. But a connection being found and made is harder to attain because of this through the dating apps. And it was actually quite insightful. I was like, you know what, Mom, I might have to have you on as a guest. I feel like people would appreciate your wisdom. And I've gone from having my guy friends in college and a board of directors analyzing my texts with women to now having my mom analyze Bumble conversations. And she does a great job, and I appreciate that. I appreciate my mom. She is, she's a great. Her name is Angelita, which stands for Little Angel, and she's definitely that. And I'm glad that my parents got to at least have a good Valentine's Day yesterday, celebrating their anniversary. I wasn't there as the third wheel, interrupting their night. So I hope that they enjoyed themselves. I was there over the weekend, forgot to say that to you guys. I went home, saw Adam Sandler, as I said, with my parents. And then Saturday, did I do anything? No. Sat around, did nothing, spent time with my family. Sunday, watched the Super Bowel movement. Enjoyed it. My dad actually decided, without even me asking, to buy me the authentic on-field Chiefs Super Bowl championship hat right after the game. He was really excited. He likes the Chiefs a lot. And then the next day I flew back. Monday night I flew back after a nice meal that we all had together. So at Mexican food, Vallarta. Anyway, I told you guys about the Bumble snowboarding conversation ghost, Snow Bunny, the Snow Bunny ghost. So now let's go ahead and end this thing with a prayer. All right. And then we'll call it an episode, episode 179 specifically. Dear Father in heaven, I don't like to even say that. Dear love, right? I don't want to make it. So dear love, you guys, I've heard it. You've heard me do this a couple times, so I don't have to explain it. Dear love, I pray for, first of all, everyone, but that's a cop-out prayer. Obviously, I do. That's a default setting there, Lord, to pray for everyone. That goes without saying. That's a overlay that I'd like to put on all future prayers and not have to say it every time to be redundant. So first of all, I pray for everyone, including myself, because everyone matters and I matter, right? So that's kind of given. Now, I pray for those who were heartbroken yesterday, and for those that maybe even have given up on love, or whatever. If yesterday's just like a crappy day, because someone has either lost someone that they love, or because they yearn for that special someone, or they yearn to just be with a warm body and share companionship on Valentine's Day. I specifically pray for those people because, Valentine's Day is a day to celebrate romantic love usually, even though love is much more than just romantic love. It is, a day for lovers. And I pray that this is me actually using my arrows now, guys, right? Now I'm speaking to you, but remember, you're part of God, so I can, because we are praying here. I do pray that all those who seek love and want it, that they are given that. And this is me. I didn't even know I had any arrows left over to give, but I fire my arrows to everyone who deep down wants love, whether that's to start a family, or just have a partner in crime, or like a best friend that's also a lover. I pray that those desirings of the heart are satisfied and met. And if this year was a sad year for people, that next year or soon after, they'll be able to it will be a non-factor being sad about these things. And this is a prayer for myself as well. Do I sound like Donald Trump there? So I request that. I deploy my arrows, and for the people that actually in their heads don't want love, either because they've been hurt so bad they're like, I don't want to deal with it, then I pray that you give people love if that's what's truly best for them. Because some people may not want love, but they don't really know what they want. You know how some people think they know what they is best for them, but they don't actually know. Well, if love will be best for them, then I shoot my arrow at those people as well. So I pray that they are given that, and that is all I have to say in this prayer and in this podcast. So love you guys. May love be with you. And hope you have a great week. God bless you. Go to heaven. And come check me out at the Orlando Bonkers Comedy Club this Friday night. All right. Have a good week, guys. Thank you. God bless. All right. YouTube, how you doing? We're gonna call it a day.